Power of attorney for buyers and sellers, what is important to know? This is a great question, and this is something that you should know about when you're putting a transaction together. First one I normally see is a married couple being married and one is not in state or out of the country. The second one I see is I have a power of attorney for my relative, usually a son or a daughter, and I'm selling mom or dad's house. Okay, those are typically the two ones that I see the most of with power of attorneys. Okay, same scenario, same thing, just different situations with the home. Anytime you have a power of attorney for a seller, we're going to need a copy of that to verify that has all the necessary language in the power of attorney according to our title standards, Kansas title standards. Once we review that and we give you the thumbs up or thumbs down, that's one of the most important parts of the process. There's certain language that has to be in the power of attorney. If there's not the necessary language in the power of attorney, we can give you a template power of attorney that you can get re-signed and notarized that you can use for the transaction. Okay, or at that time we can just go find the two sellers and distribute the documents back and forth to get notarized. That's important on the seller side. Okay, on the buyer side, same thing. If one of the people is gone, we're going to need a power of attorney. And how this is different than a seller POA to a buyer POA is on a seller POA, we're making the decision on is that POA correct according to our standards in order to convey for that seller. When there's a buyer POA, the one that makes that call is the lending institution. Okay, so let's just make an example. If there's a husband and wife and the husband's out of state or he's away for business and the wife needs to sign for him, we're going to need a copy of that POA giving her authorization to sign on his behalf. Now, once we get a copy of that, it's going to have to be recorded. Okay, so it can't be a copy. It's going to have to be a wet or original signature. Most likely, it's going to be deed, power of attorney, and then mortgage, because she's going to sign on his behalf on the mortgage. Okay, and what we're also going to have to see is get a copy of that, because we're going to have to give that to the lender for them to give their blessing on that. The language enclosed in that POA is up to their standard. Now, both short and condensed version is if it's a seller POA, we need to verify that the POA is good and fulfills all of our standards. If it's a buyer POA, we're going to need to get that to the lender and make sure it fulfills all their standards. In both of those scenarios, we need the original POA to be recorded in the county.